Sometimes the most exhausting thing about being an idol isn't the hectic schedule, the lack of sleep, or even the pressure of being on stage. It's the outside voices who think they know everything. And these days, one name keeps being targeted: Jimin. The funny thing is, while some people are busy judging, guessing, twisting video clips and words, Jimin is in a completely different place. He's laughing. He's relaxed. And the most heartbreaking part for those who love drama, he's laughing with Jungkook. Yes, Jikook. Laughing. Comfortable. Happy. Not fake. Not staged. And definitely not the reaction of someone under pressure, as negative narratives often force. The problem is, some people always want to see Jimin in a vulnerable position. Every expression is overanalyzed. Every silence is seen as a sign of pain. Every smile is seen as a mask. After all, humans don't live to meet the expectations of an audience they don't even know. Jimin isn't a fictional character. He's not a puzzle to be solved. He's a human being who has the right to be tired, laugh, be annoyed, and be happy without having to explain everything. And in this moment, Jungkook is always there in a way that's calm but clear. Not with long statements. Not with clarifications. But with presence. The way Jungkook laughs freely next to Jimin, the way he responds spontaneously, the way they share little jokes, that's not the body language of someone who's forced. It's the language of someone who's comfortable, who's secure, who's being themselves. And that's what some people dislike. Because happiness they can't control often feels disturbing. Ironically, the more people try to bring Jimin down with theories and assumptions, the more one thing becomes clear. Jimin isn't alone. He's not isolated. He's not down as certain narratives would like him to be. He's alive. He's laughing. And he's sharing those moments with people who truly know him. Jikook laughs in your face not as a provocation, but as a simple fact. Their lives go on. And perhaps, before we rush into judgment, it's worth pausing and asking ourselves, do we really care, or do we just want to feel right? Because in the end, what's clear isn't who's the most vocal, but who's the happiest. And today, the answer is very clear. And at this point, what's often forgotten is one simple thing. Happiness isn't always loud. Sometimes it comes through a chuckle, a casual glance, or a lighthearted moment that isn't staged for the camera, but simply captured. That's what Jimin and Jungkook look like. Not a dramatic moment. Not a scene full of overly meaningful things. Just two people who have been together too long to need to pretend. And perhaps that's the most annoying thing for those who like to judge, because there's no room for theory. There's no secret code to twist. There's no sad expression to feed into a narrative. There's just honest laughter. Jimin doesn't look like someone who needs saving. He looks like someone who's already in a safe place. Safe with himself. Safe with his surroundings. Safe with the people around him. And Jungkook? He's not a savior. He's not a crutch. He's just there. Naturally. As usual, the strongest relationships are often the simplest. No need for proof. No need for defense. Because their energy speaks for itself. Meanwhile, out there are those who are still trapped in the same cycle, repeating old narratives, making baseless accusations, and then getting angry when reality doesn't match their expectations. Yet Jimin's life doesn't stop just because someone disagrees. And Jikook's happiness doesn't diminish just because someone chooses to turn a blind eye. Maybe it's not their laughter that needs to stop, but our habit of feeling entitled to other people's lives. Because the harsher the judgment, the clearer one thing becomes. Jimin remains standing. Jungkook remains by his side. And they remain happy, without anyone's permission. The louder the voices trying to tear Jimin down, the calmer he remained. There were no scathing retorts, no emotional clarifications, no attempts to prove anything. Because truly happy people usually don't need to argue with prejudice. Jimin chose his life. Choose his own way to breathe in the spotlight. choose to laugh when he feels like laughing.
And Jungkook?
He didn't change his rhythm just because the world was noisy. He remained the same Jungkook, honest, spontaneous, and comfortable with the people who had been part of his life for years. If you pay close attention, there's a very clear message in their behavior. They're not building an image, they're living. For some, this is difficult to accept, because it's easier to create drama than to accept the reality that not everyone crumbles under pressure, that not every target of hatred is successfully hurt, that some people can still laugh despite being judged. And that's frustrating for those who live off assumptions. Jikook isn't proving anything to the public. They're not showing happiness. They just don't feel the need to hide it. And that's a big difference. Sometimes, what's called in your face isn't an act of defiance, but a reflection. A mirror that subconsciously reveals who's truly tired, who's truly anxious, and who's still trapped in anger. Because those who laugh sincerely rarely hold grudges. And those who are busy judging are often at peace with themselves. Maybe it's time to stop forcing Jimin into a story that isn't his. Stop using Jungkook as a narrative tool. And stop assuming that other people's happiness is something that must be approved first. That not all wounds need to be flaunted. Not all sadness needs to be publicized. And not all happiness needs defending. Jimin never asked to be understood by everyone. He simply wanted to be respected as a human being. Someone who is growing, changing, and learning to make peace with himself in a world that always demands more. And Jungkook, who is often dragged into other people's narratives, is actually doing one simple thing: remaining true to the bond that formed long before all this noise existed. A bond born not from theory, but from time. From togetherness. From the little things that cameras never see. That's why their laughter feels different. Not stiff. Not faked. No need to explain. While some people are busy looking for proof, Jimin and Jungkook are busy living in the moment. And ironically, that's more than enough to answer all doubts, without a single word.
Because true happiness is like that.
Not dramatic.
Not shouty.
But consistent.
Felt.
And unwavering despite constant testing. So perhaps, before jumping to judgment, it's best to take a step back.
Take a breath.
And remember that the idols we admire aren't ours. Their feelings aren't for public consumption. And their lives aren't a free space for assumptions. Ceasing to judge Jimin doesn't mean closing our eyes. It means opening our hearts to see him as a whole person. And accepting one simple truth that's become clear these days. Jikook isn't trying to prove anything. They're just happy. And if the world still feels inadequate with all of that, perhaps the problem isn't Jimin, but with how some people view other people's happiness. Because there's a type of happiness that can't be broken by opinion. Can't be shaken by comments. Can't crumble just because it's attacked from all sides. A happiness that grows quietly, takes deep root, and only becomes stronger when tested. Jimin didn't become defensive. He didn't shut down. He didn't retaliate with anger. Instead, he seemed lighter,
calmer,
more at peace.